really good.
Soca.
I need to buy a case from
Hip hop and R&B. African. Disco.
So we're gonna
oldies but goodies.
Hi, this is Jenny Jensen.
We're bridging the gap. Seriously. Splash Radio 94.3 New Jersey.
Mr. Ballas Jerk House. Say if you live in a New Jersey, Irvington, and any one of the surrounding area of them. Me and me couldn't know say a Ballas Jerk House and the place to go eat. I found here Ballas Jerk House. A morning time bright and early, them open from 7 to noon for breakfast. I'm here tell us that any Ballas Jerk House, them have it out here. If I ackee and saltfish, you know what, them have it. If I salt mackerel, you know what, they have it. If I kidney or liver, you know what, me say Ballas Jerk House, them have it. And if I porridge, you know what, porridge Jerk House, them have it. Them have the cornmeal porridge. Them have the plot and the banana porridge. Me say they have every porridge. On top of that, them have lunch special for Lily and look me tell us say oxtail, curry chicken, brown stew chicken, curry goat and everything. Them have fried dumpling. Them have fried saltfish. Them have patty and cocoa covered. On top of that, them have all roti. And me tell us say them got homemade natural juice. I come get them freshly made carrot juice. Them have carrot mass. Them have sorrel, jerk, Ballas Jerk House. Them have it out there. Jerk chicken, jerk fish, jerk pork, jerk nose. So when they have on Friday, them have seafood and jerk fish Fridays. So when I don't feel for the seafood, them make couldn't know so I can call. I'm putting on an order. The number for call is 973-399-4480. Me say I'm Ballas Jerk House, so I'm the #1 jerk party in New Jersey.
Sing it, representing the color heritage. Represent the heritage. Marcus Garvey family. Color heritage family. Fashion and culture. Mama Shanti.
Know what I am doing? Downloading the Western Union app. I need to send money to my auntie in Nigeria. Know what I am doing now? Checking today's exchange rate to Nigeria on the Western Union app. Now I'm sending my auntie money to help her with her groceries.
Download the Western Union app today. Use it to check today's exchange rate and send money to loved ones in Nigeria. Western Union, moving money for better.
Western Union makes money from currency exchange. Carefully compare fees and exchange rates, which may vary and are subject to change. NMLS number 906983.
For the most authentic Caribbean food in town, check out Sunsplash Caribbean Bakery and Restaurant. They got the natural organic juice bar that'll get your day started right. Like the Power Punch, the Vegan Juice, the Mega Green, roots like the Immortal and the Resurrection. And peep this, they have an extended bakery department that whips up my favorite, the hot Hardo bread. White or wheat, that's your choice.
If you're feeling hungry, just grab a bite. At Sunsplash Bakery, the food is right. Jamaican patty, Itala veggie. At Sunsplash Bakery, the food is right. Mix the peanut with the caramel porridge.
Serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they also cater to vegans and vegetarians with the Ital stew and the Ital aki, the soul jerk salmon and mango tilapia. And of course, they got the usual curry goat, oxtail, brown stew chicken, jerk chicken, and so much more. I mean, their menu is extended and they're highly rated. Your best bet is to just stop by or give them a call. They're open Monday through Wednesday, 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Thursday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. They're located at 56 Main Street in Orange, New Jersey, and can be reached at 973-395-3777.
If they are some hungry days, we need some more food up on we empty plate. Long time we there, how we sit on a wait. Sunsplash restaurant, I run the place. Everybody
What's going on?
Let your food be a medicine. Eat well, live longer. I'm David Shepard, and I endorse this commercial.
I don't have any volume whatsoever. I went to your page to make sure it wasn't my phone.
Splash Radio 94.3. Reggae, dance hall, soca, hip hop and R&B, African, disco, oldies but goodies.
Hi, this is Janet Jackson.
We're bridging the gap. Seriously. Splash Radio 94.3
why don't you use your phone to Facebook Live,
Eric
right,
Dawson,
and then use your iPad
Hey bro, you're doing a great job of listening to you.
On 94.3.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I do. You know what I mean? And then you can, then it's easier to get a. I think he has another one.
Located at 6 Out Man
I think he has another mount.
New Jersey.
You know what I mean? So I'll ask him. I know he had 2 before.
Each and every Sunday morning from 5 a.m.
Well, we'll get a mount. You know what I mean? We'll get another mount. They're like $14 at Kmart. Maybe I'll pick one up this week and we'll set over there. And then that way, you know what I'm saying? Then your phone is set up and then right there you just, yeah, and then you can research on here the whole bit.
Splash Radio 94.3.
No. Hey, listen, man. It's about learning each one, right? Before you started doing the invite, I didn't know about that.
For 94.3 FM Splash Radio. We just splash out the music on them.
Okay. Where's my where's the audio file? Yep, there we go. It was working before. Oh, he. Oh, we hadn't put the thing. You know what? I don't even stress anymore, man. There are times I listen to like talk radio, and you hear like dead space, and you'll hear commercials that not supposed to.
Your attention, please.
Do it perfectly on.
This
on
is no ordinary show. Covering news and information for Essex County, New Jersey, and beyond. This is the Eric Dawson Radio Show. Broadcasting from 94.3 Splash Radio. Now, here's your host, giving it to you like only he can. It's Eric Dawson.
Hey, this is Eric Dawson, and this is the Eric Dawson Radio Show, 94.3 FM. Calling number 973-457-8000. Again, it's 973-457-8000. And OB gave me a piece of paper, because I know I've been telling you guys to call in and listen. It's 213-493-0287. You can call that number, but it's going to redirect you to this number, 641-552-8147. So moving forward, if you don't want to be redirected, you can simply call 641-552-8147. And we're streaming live every day from 10 to noon. And I'm here today with my co-host. It's Thursday, so you see sitting to the left of me is Ian Burrowes. And
actually to the far left.
To the far
just in case, I don't want people to get confused. For those who are watching live, like, yo, Ian didn't get a tan today. It just looks a little different. I'm just saying, I just want clarification.
That's funny.
Hey, I'm just saying, words matter, right?
You know what? Words do matter.
So, what did you think we're going to throw people off? The glasses?
The glasses. The glasses might have been.
Yeah, the glass. Okay. So to the far left is Ian Burrowes, and to my immediate left, or in the middle of the two of us, we have Dave Tucker here from Bloomfield, and happy to have him in. Always love a different perspective on different issues. And then Dave is going to talk to us about what's going on in Bloomfield. He is running for a councilman there. We are in the throes of election season, and so we'll get some insight there.
Oh, awesome.
So listen, I know we got some heavy stuff to talk about, and I want to talk about the photo that you put up on Facebook out of Teaneck, right, which was really interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
It was very interesting. And then
we
some
have
other
Dave
stuff.
here. We have Dave.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
We got to deal with Dave.
We got to deal with Dave.
We got to deal with Dave.
And then the other thing that is on the lighter side, but that I want to talk about is Mr. Met got fired. Did you hear about that?
Yes. No, I didn't.
So Mr. Met, the guy
I can't even pretend on that one. Yeah.
So one of the guys who you heard about that, Dave?
Yeah.
So one of the guys who's in the uniform, the Met mascot uniform.
You mean my team, the Mets?
Oh, so you don't? Well, then okay. So then, how do you not know what I'm getting ready to tell you?
What the hell is going on around here?
So he gave the middle finger to a fan.
The fan probably deserved it.
Well, yeah.
The fan probably said a curse word, something like the Yankees. Probably said something like that.
I'm sure he did.
And if that's the case, I'm on the side of the Met.
But to me, there's a logistical issue here.
Okay.
I was told Mr. Met only has 4 fingers. So if that's the case, where's his middle finger?
Very true. Where is his middle finger?
Where's his middle finger?
He couldn't have given anybody.
There
is no middle finger.
So I think Mr. Met needs an attorney.
Exactly.
I think he needs an attorney. I'd get an attorney. I say, well, wait a minute now. I mean, if the middle finger is the finger, which they see.
Yeah.
I'm just checking him out.
We have our guest looking at his hand just to make sure he came in with 5.
Right. So
I don't want that was him. Okay.
No, I thought it was Ian sitting to his immediate
I'm
left.
just saying.
That would have
said
the beginning show.
Oh my goodness.
So I need somebody to explain that to me. But I certainly would get an attorney, and I'd say, I didn't put my middle finger up.
Yeah, exactly what I would say.
He either put his index finger. No, he either put his pointer finger up, or he put his ring finger up.
Yeah, he could say I was proposing to the person and pointing to my ring finger.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would have done. So I mean, that was on the lighter side.
Okay, so you're running for office.
Yes, sir.
Right.
First ward councilman in Bloomfield.
And please give our audience a little bit of background on yourself and what motivated you to run.
Well, I've served in the past in the 90s as a first ward councilman.
Okay.
And I ran for mayor last year unsuccessfully, but still believe in what much of our platform was. So I decided to run again.
Okay.
I'm retired. Thank you, God. Gives me an opportunity to play a little bit extra golf.
A lot of golf.
A lot of golf.
Every time I try to get in touch with him, he's on the golf course.
Well, is Trump retired? Is he retired?
No,
he
plays a lot of golf too.
But go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No problem. So the way things are,
Republican?
No, I'm a Republican.
Okay.
But I like to think of myself as somebody that thinks independently.
Okay.
Which is very important, I think, now, especially down in Bloomfield with the council being 7-0 Democratic. I think we need some balance. I think balance is the key word here, and even one Republican getting onto the council will at least give some balance and give other voices in the town to be heard. We have 2 other Republicans in the second ward, Cyril Spina III, running for election.
Okay.
And we have Cyril Spina III?
Yeah,
well, Cyril Spina, one maybe you know his dad or somebody, but she's an attorney.
Right.
And,
that's why.
And we have Pedro Tavares Jr. in the third ward, which encompasses the south end of Bloomfield. My ward is the middle ward, and the second ward is up in the Brookdale section.
Well, I'm happy to hear that you define yourself as independent. Like, curious, what would you say in regards to your party itself? Because I mean, do you feel like your party has been hijacked by, say, an extreme right segment within your party? I mean, what do you feel about your party as a whole, and where do you fall in line with your party? Are you more centered in your party? Because it's my opinion that over time the party has shifted direction and or what we once what once was called a Republican is no longer a Republican. I think the quote unquote Republican now are a little bit way more conservative than he used to be decades ago.
Yeah, I would say that I'm more centered, but on the local level, I think we need to eliminate party politics. One of the things that I ran on last year, and one of the things I'm going to run on this year again, is to have nonpartisan elections. I believe that nonpartisan on the local level should be more important than whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Gives you more of an opportunity to see the person, right. Puts everybody on the same line. In Bloomfield, for instance, the entire town is run by Joe DiVincenzo, who happens to be the county executive. And any call that he makes, naturally, the council's going to follow through. Our president, Mayor Michael Venezia, he's a director of human resources, and he works for the county, works for Joe D. So where are you going with that? I mean, he's obviously not going to go against anything that Joe D wants him to do, or his job could be in jeopardy.
So here's a question that's coming on online. Somebody said, what specific balance will you bring to the council? Where do you see that the council in Bloomfield needs balance, and then how will you best insert yourself to provide that?
I believe it needs balance where it has a minority spokesman, basically. I mean, we have things like we're a welcoming city now, which I strongly oppose that resolution. And I found out in knocking on doors that a lot of people, Democrats, Republicans, and independents, are against that and had no idea that we were. Bloomfield needs a voice in order to get out and let everybody know what's going on in the community and in town, as far as inside things are concerned that nobody knows about. Right now, when it's 7-0, Democrats, they can just go in, do it as they want to, and they don't have to publicize it or get it out. And I think that it's affecting a lot of the things that are going on in Bloomfield right now.
For our listeners, what is a welcoming city?
A welcoming city is equivalent to a sanctuary city.
Okay.
It's equivalent to a sanctuary city.
So we're talking about for like illegal immigrants.
For illegal immigrants, okay. Correct.
So I just
and I have a problem. Yeah, I have a big problem with Bloomfield. Well, I shouldn't say illegal immigrants. I'm going to say undocumented immigrants.
Okay.
I have a big problem with us putting out a welcoming sign for these people. It affects the Bloomfield taxpayer greatly. We have to pay to educate these kids, and the bottom line is we're breaking a federal law. And I'm hoping that what happened in Texas happens here in New Jersey when whoever is elected the next governor wins, and they appoint an attorney general that's going to turn around and say, you're breaking the law, you're getting no state aid, and criminally prosecute these politicians that have voted to make sanctuary cities and welcoming cities. Okay. No question in my mind about that. It's just not right that the taxpayers should have to foot the bill for these people.
Okay.
Okay, so that is one of the ways that you, speaking of, and I want to talk about this a little bit. I think it's in Arkansas.
Arkansas?
Arkansas. Yeah, that's how I spell it. I always have to write Arkansas.
That's how I remember how to spell it. That's what I say.
The other word that I've learned how to spell through, is Wednesday. I have to pronounce it Wednesday in order to spell it properly.
Okay. Grammar 101.
Grammar 101. Hey, listen.
Grammar Thursdays, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.
You think Marquise would be able to answer that one?
Oh!
Sorry, I didn't want to get you started. I got Tums in the car, Eric.
At least you didn't mention somebody on the Board of Education in Newark.
No, that's Marquise Lewis.
That's Marquise
Lewis.
That would be the president of the...
I'm leaving, ladies and gentlemen.
That would be the current president of the Newark Board of Education. But in Arkansas, what they're doing with... I'll say undocumented immigrants is they are taxing them now, right? And they're taxing them by way of the money that they send back to Mexico or to wherever they're sending it.
So they're taxing the undocumented person.
Right. So when you go to Western Union or wherever they go to send the money back, there is a tax levied on that money. Right now, the issue came up, well, not just undocumented folks are sending money, everybody's sending money. And so what they did in Arkansas is they said, well, we'll give you a rebate on your money at tax time. So you have to file taxes, and then you can claim to get all of that money back. But we know undocumented are not going to file taxes. So they'll get caught up in the net of having to pay. And so in that respect, Dave, doing something like that would help alleviate the tax burden for residents, right?
Well, it would help alleviate it a little bit. But another thing that you have to look at closely here, Eric, and, I urge the people of Bloomfield to really listen and dig into this. If things hold the way they are, Bloomfield could lose $1 million in federal funds this year. $1 million in federal funds. And who's going to be responsible for picking up that tab? Us, the taxpayers, are. We can't afford to lose $1 million in federal funds in Bloomfield this year.
And I got to say, in all honesty, that's the one thing that's not being discussed when politicians are having this conversation or debate about sanctuary cities. They're not really being very forthright with the taxpayers and talking about the implications, right? They're giving very broad strokes in terms of vilifying the administration and saying that federal tax dollars are going to be withheld, but they need to begin to explain to all of the people who are behind them cheering that yes, we should have these cities be sanctuary cities. They should talk about how much those residents are going to have to tighten their belts because of federally funded programs that will be cut as a result.
Exactly. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. And let's call spade a spade here. The bottom line is, all this sanctuary city move, it's all political. It's just political move. Nobody can really answer the question that you just asked. Why are we a sanctuary city? That's the key question. Why are we a welcoming city? Nobody can answer that question. Why? Because it's all politics to play out to the political base of whatever party's in charge.
But now, but there are people who are saying that we want these sanctuary cities because we don't believe in going in and rounding up families who have rooted here, whether they've come illegally or not, but they're here now, they're children who are here. So you could be somebody who's been undocumented in these United States for 30 years, but now you have a family. You have a child in middle school, another one in high school, and then here comes ICE ready to grab you out of your house and deport you.
Well, believe me, I agree with that to an extent. That I'm not asking that ICE go start searching out people and start searching out regular citizens. But the way these sanctuary city laws are written, they won't even report criminals to ICE that are illegal immigrants. That's the big problem that I have. Or I should say undocumented. That's the big problem I have.
Are they saying that they won't report criminals? I thought that that the sanctuary cities weren't, that they had separated those two ideas, and they said, it's not about the criminal, it's about simply the undocumented person.
Yeah, I don't believe that is accurate, at least from what I have seen with the bail bond aspect as well. That I think criminals have been exposed, and they do point them out. To my understanding, that they do. It's from the sanctuary aspect.
Well, our welcoming city resolution says that ICE isn't even allowed on the properties of anything that's publicly owned in Bloomfield.
Oh.
So a library, if there was an undocumented person so if I were a citizen, but I knew that person A was undocumented and they walked into the library and I placed a phone call, you're saying that ICE would have to wait outside of the library to apprehend the person?
Correct.
They would not be able to go inside.
Correct.
And they don't have, them being ICE being a federal agency, they don't have the ability to override that, and if they wanted to.
No, well, that's where it comes in that they're saying that they're breaking federal law. they're breaking federal law by making these sanctuary cities and these welcoming cities, not allowing the agents to come in and do their job.
Okay, we have a caller this morning. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, caller.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline. Hey, how are you?
Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning, Jackie.
Hi, Ian. I was listening to Mr. Dave, that he's running for councilman, so forth, etc., and how he explaining himself about also being a welcoming city, so forth, etc. He explained all the politics that it came down to who's in charge, who's not in charge. How liberal he is, but yet in fact I'm still confused with the fact that it is a welcoming city allegedly, but it's not for just illegal immigrants, not for illegal immigrants. It could be anybody. But we have to remember, if we don't have those people, there's too many people that just don't want to clean toilets, don't want to pick up stuff that don't. Americans are so spoiled, and I'm a Puerto Rican American. And it kills me when I hear people saying, oh, these illegal documented people are taking money from here, taking money from there. Do you know how hard it is for people to get documents in America?
So is your statement supporting the fact that folks should be able to come here illegally because it's difficult to get to be legalized?
People want to survive, and everybody in different countries believe that this is the golden dream of America.
No. I understand that point. I'm asking, so should it be by any means necessary that they come and stay?
If they need to, absolutely. They have to survive. Yes, I do. I support that.
So in terms of us being a nation of laws, you're prepared to suspend some laws based on the needs of external people, not even people who are Americans.
No. Do not twist my words. What I'm trying to say is, we have Americans, even vets, that are hungry and that have nothing, and America itself doesn't even help them. But we have people that are smart enough that can do some jobs, that, are able. I'm not talking about extremists or ISIS or nothing like that. I'm not saying anything about any country, any people that come from any country. Yes, extremists, but it's something different topic. So when it comes down to people that want to work, that want to survive, yes, I guess I will suspend the laws and suspend the laws a little bit in that aspect. Because it doesn't make any sense. This is the golden pot. Everybody's an immigrant. Not one person in this country is pure besides the native Indians. So I don't understand. So we're all immigrants.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you for the call.
Thank you. I appreciate you calling. I appreciate it.
So, the question becomes, then we should seek to change the law, right? So, folks, my opinion anyway is that folks who are as passionate as Jackie is about this issue and believes that it should just be open borders for anybody who, personally feels that they want to pursue all of the dreams and things that they can here in America, that we shouldn't be vetting them and we shouldn't hold them to legalizing in any way. I think that there should just kind of be a movement, not a movement for sanctuary cities, but a movement to change the law and to change the policies around how people can come in, and not say we should keep those laws, but then we should break them when people feel as though they're distressed.
Well, before we answer that, this is my issue with it. My issue in regards to something that you mentioned earlier, in regards to taxing the quote-unquote immigrants and all that other stuff, is that we were birthed on the premise of no taxation without representation. So the problem I have with that is, are we saying it's okay to we're getting some money, some kind of revenue from them, but what voice do they have?
Well, they're not going to. I don't know that they'll call it a tax. It'll be a fee.
Well, we don't have to call it what it,
Right,
we
but
don't have to call something, but the action itself dictates what it is.
But it's a fee. It's a fee for sending the money in, and you know what it really is. It is.
Your words were a tax.
No, right.
I mean, so words do matter. I mean, if it's a tax, it is, because if that's what it is, it's
well,
a tax.
Right.
We're changing the term. We're changing the word.
Of course,
call it a fee.
of course we are, because legally you can't tax that.
Exactly.
Right, but it is a fee.
So we're finding a loophole way to make some money.
But then it's interesting, right? Because the federal government, by way of you filing your taxes. Well, no. You know what? Yes, you can, because what they call it is an expense, just like you have any other expense, right? Which you could write off at tax time. Right, it's an expense. You could have a business expense or any other kind of expense, and you could write it off at tax time. So however they choose to categorize it, they won't categorize it as a tax. But I think that these folks should be paying something.
No, that's not my dispute. Of course, I mean, I feel everybody here should be paying their fair share, regardless of your economic status, from top to bottom. That's what I feel about it. But if you're going to be taxed, you should be represented. You should have a voice. If you're not going to have a voice, that's my only issue. It's either we're going to take advantage of them being here by taxing them, but
so your position then is that you should not get rid of them, and not only should you not get rid of them, but they shouldn't have to pay anything while they're here either.
No. For me, I feel there's a certain segment that should be grandfathered in, especially those who had the children that's been here decades or whatever like that. But I'm just saying that if we're going to dig into the pockets of the individuals with one hand, are we giving anything in return for it? That's all I'm asking. I mean, do we just walk into any type of a business establishment?
But I'll tell you what they get in return. So here's what they get. Here's what they get in return. Whatever job that they have, they're working that job. Now, I'm not saying that the government is allowing them to work that job, but they've skirted the system and they're working that job while they're here. Right? And while they're here, they are not subject to a lot of the things that they ran away from in their own country. That's what they're getting here, whether illegally or not. They're getting all of that.
Okay, well, let's hear our guest. I'm sorry, he's silent. You and I are debating across him.
Jump in, Dave.
One of the things.
Defend yourself.
One of the things they're getting here is freedom. That's one of the things they're getting here is freedom.
But do they really have freedom if they're looking over their shoulder at ICE?
Well, it's freedom is one of the reasons that they're coming here.
But they're fleeing for fear of persecution or other things from their other country that they left, right? And then being here, they're still fearing persecution. Maybe a different kind, right? Because they're really not going to be tortured or anything. They're just going to be sent back.
I don't know. We have videos of them being tortured.
There's
a. We have videos of undocumented.
Absolutely, by ICE people. There's been plenty of videos
being tortured.
Absolutely, tased, tortured, while cuffed. There's plenty of it all over YouTube.
Oh,
it's all over the place. Absolutely.
All right. I wasn't going to refer to that as being tortured.
What would you call it if you're handcuffed and you're constantly being tased just for the hell of it? Yeah, I would consider that torture.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen those.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I haven't seen them either. But the thing is, Eric, I agree with you wholeheartedly. But they can come here for that freedom, but do it legally. There's a process to get into the United States of America. And those undocumented immigrants that are coming into this country are doing it illegally. We are a nation of laws. Now, granted, no question in my mind that the immigration system is broken. And I do agree with you 1,000%, Ian, that there should be some kind of grandfather clause in there for people that have been here and prove they can be here.
See, Jackie, so we got some middle ground here.
There is no question. I agree with that.
Okay.
The problem that I have is these sanctuary and welcoming cities protecting these people and saying, come on in. So if you're somebody, let's say, of Hispanic descent from Mexico, and you want to get across into this country, what's your first goal? Your first goal is to get to one of those cities where you know that they're not going to bother you. That's their first goal, is to get one of those cities where they're not going to bother you. So what does that mean? The city is not following the law, and we are a nation of laws. But I will give you your point, Ian, on the immigration law is broken. It's up to Congress to get to work and fix it. It's been broken for years. I mean, that's what our leaders are down there for, to fix situations like this. If they'd fixed it years ago, we wouldn't be having this problem today. But I think the people that have been here and raised families here, I have no problem. ICE shouldn't be going after them. Let them be. Let them continue.
So they
with
shouldn't
their
be going
lives.
after them.
Right. So
No. I didn't. I never said that they should be going after those people at all.
All right. So beyond that, Dave, only because you're here, you're letting the people know who you are, and that you're running for a position. What are other things that you're looking to bring to the table as a council person?
Well, one of the things that I definitely want to see happen, we've discussed it before, is a move to nonpartisan elections in Bloomfield. I think that's very important. I don't think any local government should be politicized. Mm-hmm. Also, I think Bloomfield needs a full-scale New Jersey audit of all the records, departments, and operations to root out fraud and waste.
That's not just Bloomfield, huh?
No, I know. That can be any place. And the thing also with that is, to modernize where it's required to modernize things. All this with the goal to reduce property taxes in the town, and also a strong pay-to-play ordinance. We have no pay-to-play ordinance in Bloomfield.
And what does that mean?
Well, pay-to-play is, your contributions to campaigns by contractors.
But let me give you in New Jersey.
But there's no pay-to-play ordinance in Bloomfield. They went to pass one, and it just sat there.
So the pay-to-play that is on the books in New Jersey can't be enforced in Bloomfield?
That I don't know, but I know that they had a pay-to-play, and that they did not do anything with it. They just tabled it and they left it there, and we need something strong. What the taxpayers need to realize with what goes on the inside, let's just take for an example, you have...
Didn't our governor participate in a pay-to-play once or twice in his... I'm talking about our current city governor. Did he not participate in a pay-to-play situation during his tenure thus far?
I don't know about.
Yeah,
I don't know about that either. Right. But when you're doing, let's say, a construction job, mm-hmm. okay, and this is where the taxpayers wind up funding the politicians, but they just don't realize it. Let's say a 2-mile stretch of Bloomfield Road, say take Broad Street for instance, has to be repaved, okay, mm-hmm. and let's say that the estimate is $50,000 to do that work. I'm sure it's a hell of a lot more, but just for example. Okay?
Right.
When the contractor is giving out that bid, he or she is adding 5% onto that, knowing that the next time sitting councilman or sitting mayor or whatever comes around for re-election time, that he's going to be knocking on their door. Looking for a contribution.
So he passed the contribution into the
the bid. They all do. It's just not Bloomfield. It's every place.
I want to ask you a question about Bloomfield, about pay to play, and about sweetheart contracts. Right. Coming off of exit 48 on the Parkway,
right.
That's Bloomfield, right? How many of you guys have seen that pothole that sits there in that left lane, right? You know the pothole I'm talking about?
Forever, right.
And that pothole gets filled, then it becomes a pothole again, then it gets filled. And I'm just wondering, like, somebody's got that contract to fill that pothole,
mm-hmm.
right?
The more often they go back, the more money they make. Very simple. So why dig it up and fix it properly?
Have you ever seen that, Ian?
Yes,
you know what pothole I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. I have a tie that remembers it.
And I'm telling you, you figure out what it costs to fix that. Whoever that contractor is making that money every year. Is that it's like a tuition for the kids' education that they're getting paid every year for that one thing. Mm-hmm. How do we find out about that? And then who complains to make sure that those things get permanently fixed? not temporarily. So if you become councilman, can I count on you to?
You can count on me to go to the proper area and get that replaced and get it fixed, and then it won't bug you anymore.
Okay.
How's that sound? I'll take care of that for you.
Right.
And the other thing, another thing too, that last night, new first ward council person was sworn in Bloomfield, who's going to be my opponent. Her name is Jenny Mundell. Very nice person from.
Now wait. Somebody was sworn in.
Yes. Well, if you remember correctly, the first ward councilman, Eli Chalet,
is going to jail.
And that's where he belongs.
There's corruption in Bloomfield.
There's big corruption in Bloomfield, which raises the question. He promised 4 votes to the gentleman who owned the property for $15,000 to make sure that the sale of that property went through.
He promised 4 council votes.
Yes, he promised it takes 4 council votes to make anything pass. Now, this piece of property was up for sale for $300,000. He promised the owner of that property that he would deliver the 4 votes.
So then So now I want the people to understand this. Hey, Ian, do you hear me? So think about it. How do I go if you're my colleague on the council and I'm cutting a deal over here? How do I promise them your vote without having told you prior that I was going to kick something in for you? How do I promise your vote?
There must be something pre-established.
So I'm saying we got 1 person going to jail. What about those 4 votes that were promised?
Well,
who's looking into that?
Well, I think what happened is this was all the way back in November of 2015 that the original arrest took place of the councilman, and they've been pleading back and forth. And I think the bottom line is that he's falling on his sword for the Democratic Party and Essex County on this one.
And so nobody, was there an indication which 4 council persons were going to be willing to vote in favor of this?
No, there was no indication of that at all. The odds are that they would have had a 7-0 vote on it anyway, but divide 4 into 15,000 and figure it out for yourself. I mean, if you're promising votes, something must be going on someplace, and you need to raise that question. You have to ask that question in your mind: what is going on?
Right.
And he openly admitted in court, yes, I did take the bribe.
Oh, I saw the headline.
He openly admitted in court that he took the bribe. He also locked his doors when the police came to arrest him after he took the second one, and flushed the $5,000 down the toilet so that they wouldn't be able to get.
But he still got to pay the $5,000.
No, he part of his thing was he had to pay the $15,000 back.
I'm sorry, so he had to pay $15,000,
and he gave them the check.
But the $5,000 he flushed down the toilet could have been part of what he was paying back.
It could have been, yeah.
So he
absolutely.
flushed his own money down the toilet.
He flushed the money down the toilet. That's for sure. It's pretty.
I mean, guys, this isn't comical. This is some of the politics and the shenanigans that go on in Essex County and in New Jersey politics in particular.
All right, so I want to before we move on to other subjects, because we have a little calendar here, I want to ask you, because you're looking to come in as a council person. There's been issues and not too distant past with law enforcement and things of that nature. As far as there's been a lot of political commentary regarding police-civilian interaction, in particular Marcus Jeter, who I happened to bail out, and I think that's the case that became famous. I think Officer Trinidad or in Orlando, somebody, 2 officers in particular.
On the Parkway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're not familiar with the case, for those who aren't familiar with the case, Marcus Jeter was pulled over. It was a basic traffic stop, and one of the officers began, I forgot which one it was, for no reason whatsoever. They broke the driver's side of the window. They went inside the car, and they started elbowing him and all that other stuff, and then they piled a bunch of trumped up charges on him. Fortunately for him, there was a second police vehicle that pulled up on the scene that actually recorded what actually happened, and as a result, the 2 police officers were indicted and charged for that. But there's been a history, nationally and locally, with police-civilian interactions. What do you? Is there any conversation regarding that?
Well, there was plenty of conversation in Bloomfield about it early last year when the Seton Hall report came out about minorities being singled out by the Bloomfield Police Department. And the Bloomfield Police Department was supposed to bring in, I believe it's somebody, a group from the Black Officers Association, Hispanic Officers Association, to come out and issue some kind of document or opinion on whether all of these charges in the Seton Hall report were true or not. And we still not have had a report on that. And that was almost a year ago that was supposed to come out. But of course, I mean, it's against any kind of police brutality or any kind of racial incidents. Obviously, the police department spends more time in the 3rd Ward because of the bordering communities.
Now, where does the 3rd Ward border?
The 3rd Ward borders East Orange, Newark, and Irvington.
Got it.
And the problem with that is that we're not giving enough protection into the 1st Ward and the second ward because of that. I mean, if we need to put a couple of additional cars on or a couple of additional police officers on in order to do that, that's fine. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about here. The political patronage that's going on in Bloomfield, a lot of it because Joe D wanted to have it done. The former police chief in Parsippany, and his name is Anthony DeCenzo, he had a position created for himself in Bloomfield Police Department as an accreditation manager, whatever that is. Now, he's currently collecting a state pension of $132,000 a year from his job on the Parsippany Police Department, and we're paying him a salary in excess of $75,000. And a former Belleville police officer, Ralph Marotti, he had a position created for him as a crime analyst in Bloomfield. He's currently collecting a pension of $70,000 from the state, and he's got a job that pays excess of $75,000. And that's just 2 examples of bringing in outsiders for them to double dip and to juice up their pensions. Now, my point there being, why weren't Bloomfield police officers promoted into these positions? That extra $150,000 could have put 2-3 more policemen on the streets. And, it's just too much political patronage going on in Bloomfield right now. You just don't bring in people like that. They're collecting those kind of pensions to pad up their pension. That's double dipping. And we can't afford it as taxpayers in Bloomfield to be doing that. Same thing with the salaries in our government in Bloomfield.
Do you have any of your council people, because we talk about this in Newark, some of the council folks work in the county. Do you guys have council folks who are also county employees?
Yeah, like I told you, the mayor is the director of human resources. And I believe there is one other council person, and I'm not sure which one it is, who's also employed by the county. So, the same thing that happened, was it in East Orange or Orange, where the mayor had replaced, he said he was stepping down with Leroy Jones and Joe D.
In East Orange.
Yeah, it's the same thing. They run Bloomfield the same way. They pulled that poor gentleman out because he didn't want to play ball. And that's what's going on in Bloomfield. You need to play ball with Joe D. Another example, our new town attorney. We had a perfectly competent town attorney 2 years ago. Our new town attorney is Joseph Tarlavecchio, who's the county board of freeholders attorney. There's another one that steps in and gets a job. And those applications that were filled in by people that applied for the job when they openly asked for it, I went to the council meeting where those applications in the conference room were placed on a desk, and the mayor said, anybody that wants to review the applications of the other people, go ahead and pick them up. So they didn't even have a chance to review it before the other council members didn't have a chance to review it before the Parlavecchio was voted on, because the mayor had already called and said who he wanted. So those applications sat out on the desk, and that was it. Joe D wanted Parlavecchio in. That's where it wound up. That's why he wound up being our town attorney.
So, Dave, the election is when?
The election is November 7th. The primary is June 6th. I'm unopposed in the primary.
Okay, so you'll be in the general.
So I will be in the general election. Yeah.
Well, you'll keep us informed.
Absolutely,
I'll
keep on top of
and
things.
let us know what's going on in
Sure.
Bloomfield, folks. We need to tighten up all of these communities in Essex County, and not just Essex County, but beyond. But the focus right now is in Essex County, getting our house in order, and then we can look elsewhere.
The taxpayers are the people that are suffering. They need to pay a little. They need to pay a little bit more attention to what's going on in the community. Just two other quick points that I want to make before I go. As far as salaries and as far as what the people in Bloomfield are spending, they don't take the time to look into it. Recently, NewJersey.com published the $175,000 Chief Club of New Jersey. Bloomfield's fire chief, with 71 members on the department, is making $193,273 a year. And also in the police department, they looked at police salaries. Our Bloomfield police director, Sam DeMeo, is number 9 in the state, making $225,000 a year after 4 years on the job. Everybody's salaries, all those things need to be looked at, and we need to take a more conservative approach.
Here's the question I'm going to ask you. Yesterday I had Bruce Austin on from Jersey City, and he talked about similar kinds of things happening in Jersey City, and he started to list them. And my question to him is the same question I'm going to pose to you, which is, what are the residents in Bloomfield doing about this?
Well, unfortunately, they're really not doing anything. It's the same thing when you
so then my question becomes,
when you used the term SAPs the other day, talking about the Newark Board of Education election. People need to educate themselves, not just walk in and pull a Democratic line or pull a Republican line because that's what they happen to be. And it's very surprising, and I'll make this point quick, I know you need to move on. Very surprising to me how many people don't understand in November they can cross party lines. I actually had a friend of mine who's about 50 years old give me a phone call last year before the November election. His parents, who were in their 60s, said, boy, we'd like to vote for Tucker, but we can't because we're registered Democrats. And he had an argument with them, it's a general election, you can vote for Dave Tucker. And they called the county to make sure that they could cross over party lines to vote.
But I'm going to ask the question again. Who is at a grassroots level doing the work in the community to educate and organize and mobilize people?
Unfortunately, nobody, and I'm hoping to do that. And the start of it is right here on the radio show. And as I'm knocking on different doors, I'm trying to educate the people and let them know what's going on. And my next step, when I start to knock on doors, is starting to print articles out of the newspaper, the two local Bloomfield newspapers, and hand them to them to make them aware of what's going on in Bloomfield.
Knocking on doors, registering voters.
Correct.
That is the key.
That's the big key. Person to person, they want to see you and they want to be able to talk to you.
Absolutely.
Great, so, thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you for coming in, man. And we look forward to to hearing more about your candidacy.
Absolutely.
As you move into the general election.
And if you're successful, we expect you to come back.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I will be back. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Very good.
Take care, guys.
All right,
Take it easy, man.
All right, audience.
To the Eric Dawson Radio Show on 94.3 FM.
All right, man.
Okay, everybody.
Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome.
That was Mr. Dave Tucker running for Bloomfield council seat here. We're going to be talking about a few subjects today. One, I'm sure some of you have heard, the incident that happened with LeBron James' home. We're going to talk about that. Tiger Woods. I'd also like to touch upon the documentary film I Am Not Your Negro, which I've only seen about 30 times so far. It's an excellent documentary film on the life of James Baldwin, Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. It was very well done. I purchased the movie myself, and like I said, I've watched it like 30 times. And there's a few other things I'm sure that you have up your sleeve, Eric, that you want to bring to the table. He's laughing. So I don't know where you want to start, but most recently, LeBron James' home in California was vandalized, and he had the N-word plattered on his gates and other things of that nature. I don't know what happened on the inside, but there was an interview. I don't know if you caught the interview. I sent you a link to it. He had a little interview after the fact, and what happened was, he actually said that incident reminded him of Emmett Till, which I thought was interesting. He said, he mentioned the fact that Emmett Till, and the reason why the Emmett Till family chose to have an open coffin funeral was because of the fact that they wanted America to see the brutality of racism and what it looks like. So when he said that, I actually sent him a tweet, and I hope he read it. Only because he mentioned that. I would like to see if he's going to, in the same spirit, open his home and let everybody view the level of vandalism and everything else that was written and said and done. Besides calling him, they wrote nigger, rather than just saying the N-word, and that's what they wrote. And and one of the things that I posted on my page, racism has no boundaries. Basically, it has no, nobody's spared. And one of the most famous athletes right now, currently today, happened to him. And ladies and gentlemen, 973-457-8000. If anybody has any comment about
so
that,
I mean, I think I think it was appalling. But to me, I think it also grounded him a little bit. Like you said, this is not something that is that people can escape from. So I mean, I hope that it I hope that it makes him I mean, look, here's the thing. I love a lot of things that LeBron James is doing. LeBron James is one of the few athletes who's not been involved in any kind of scandal. He seems to have a very healthy relationship with his mom. He has a very, very healthy relationship with his community. I was thrilled to see that he came back to Cleveland, and not only did he come back, but look what he did. He made Cleveland a championship city. He also is involved in creating college scholarship funds and all kinds of other things, investing in minority businesses in the community. So the guy is already doing tremendous work. And, sometimes it takes things like this to, just drive him harder. So, I mean, my hope is that it drives him harder, that, he, irrespective of the, tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars that he has earned, that he realizes that there are those who are less fortunate than him, who are enduring what he endured but don't have the platform he has to speak out. And so, I hope that he, takes up the mantle and he does that. Well, everybody takes on issues differently. Everybody's approach has been different. Not everyone is Colin Kaepernick. I think LeBron has always been similar to a lot of what Oprah has done, a lot of stuff in the background or without much fanfare, because they're not trying to promote a lot of the stuff that they are doing, like when Oprah did things in Africa and whatnot. I think LeBron also has a far reach and does a lot of things within the community and abroad. I think he chooses not to shine a light on it. But it was
I mean, you saw it in his demeanor. For those who saw the interview, I'll copy and paste the link on the feed. You know, his body language said it. His tone said it. I mean, he was hurt. He was hurt by it. Disappointed. He was eloquent in the fact that he searched
the current
for the
time.
words.
Flash Radio, 94.3.
Reggae, dance hall, soca, hip hop and R&B, African, disco, oldies but goodies.
Hi, this is Janet Jackson.
We're bridging the gap. Seriously. Splash Radio 94.3 New Jersey.
Looking for trustworthy tax professionals? Give Impact Corp a call. We will assist you with all your tax needs. We are a team of CPAs and IRS enrolled agents. If you are audited, our audit protection team will represent you at no out-of-pocket costs. We provide 3 years audit protection and a year identity theft protection, so you can have peace of mind without fear of audit. Call our team of tax experts today, 973-395-4401.
Oliver Samuels here, and I just want to invite you to come out to the People Profile Awards Sunday, June 18, 2017 at the Bailey Hall right up there in Fort Lauderdale. Guess what? Me will be the recipient of the prestigious Lifetime Awards. Don't take out one syllable of the meaning of the word prestigious. It's the black tie affair. Nothing less. Yellow Man get it last year, and that is a great achievement. Now me go be the recipient. I'm taking it to another level.
Know what I am doing? Downloading the Western Union app. I need to send money to my auntie in Nigeria. Know what I am doing now? Checking today's exchange rate to Nigeria on the Western Union app. Now I'm sending my auntie money to help her with her groceries.
Download the Western Union app today. Use it to check today's exchange rate and send money to loved ones in Nigeria. Western Union, moving money for better.
Western Union makes money from currency exchange. Carefully compare fees and exchange rates, which may vary and are subject to change. NMLS number 906983.
Splash Radio 94.3, New Jersey, Rich.
Other than those, Mr. G represent for 94.3 FM Splash Radio. We just splash out the music on them.
You're listening to the Eric Dawson Radio Show on 94.3 FM.
So, we were talking about LeBron James and, you know, the slurs that were written on his house, the vandalism that took place inside of his house. And you were commenting about, you know, I mentioned that, you know, I hope that it grounds him a little bit more, impassions him a little bit more to recognize that folks who have far less than he does, especially a platform, you know, because your house gets vandalized, you don't get to do a press conference on ESPN, right? Somebody writes nigga on your wall, you don't get to, you know, have Channel 4 and Channel 2, you know, microphone shoved in your face when you're talking about it. So he gets that. He gets that platform, and so, you know, the question is, you know, what will he do with that platform, recognizing that there are many people who share the same, you know, skin that he does that are dealing with every day. I'd like to see him do something.
Well, I mean, again, I mean, he spoke about it. He didn't really back down. Even
right, but did he speak about it in terms of it happening to him? Did he speak about it in terms of it happening?
No, he spoke about it happening to him.
Okay.
Again, I applaud him. I mean,
oh no, I'm not saying
all the things,
I'm not criticizing him. I wanted to propel him.
Right. No, but of all the things that he could have mentioned and reached out for, he actually mentioned probably one of the most horrific racial responses, you know, that happened to an individual regarding a little kid, a little boy by the name of Emmett Till.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of people...
So what are your thoughts about the fact that he
I mean, to reference that of all things,
right?
He's not backing down on the subject itself because
but I'm saying do you think that his house being vandalized and that nigger being scrolled across the exterior that it falls, that you mention the two things in the same breath?
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, I think we would all agree to that, but I think what he did do was remind folks, I mean, racism and the response, the physical responses of the ugly physical responses of racism range from vandalism all the way to the Emmett Till, and I think him mentioning that and basically laying reference to the fact that regardless of who you are and what you are, if you're black in this country, and that he did mention that, you're still you're reminded of that you are still black in America, and he mentioned it, and I applaud it. He really didn't.
But he didn't say anything that we don't already know, though.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
But he could have taken the whatchamacallit route. What's his name? That's one of the famous forwards in the NBA who's now an analyst. Why can't I think of his name? Baldhead brother,
I don't
Hall of
know.
Famer.
But go ahead.
Anyway, taking.
Are you talking about Kenny Smith?
No, I'm talking about
Barkley, Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley. He could have taken a Charles Barkley route and kind of like, really not address it at all. But I think he addressed it.
You're saying that Charles Barkley? Stop. So you're suggesting that if Charles Barkley had nigger written across his and had his house vandalized, that he wouldn't have addressed it?
And he definitely wouldn't have referenced Emmett Till and all the other stuff, and spoke about. He would have definitely individualized it a lot more. But Peter asked a question. Peter, in my feed, how do I know that the perpetrators were white? I never mentioned color at all, Peter. I never mentioned color at all. So I'm not sure where you got that, but the fact that racism exists in this country and somebody writes nigger on a person's property, that's a racist act and response. I don't know who the individuals were as of yet. They weren't exposed, but and I'm not assuming. So I think that sir, you gotta when you get a chance, when we're done with this video, and you can go back and listen to it from the beginning, look and see where I said anything like that, and you will find that the only one assuming on this feed, sir, would be you. So that happened. The Tiger Woods DUI thing happened. They made a big thing about that.
So what do you think? Do you think that he's being mistreated in the media?
Well, what I think that they found, one of the things that they said was they did give him a
breathalyzer, and he blew zero. But do
he
you think
blew zero? So he said it was a medication.
Correct.
The response. I just find it interesting on how they were quick to look to try to assassinate his character.
Who was trying to assassinate his character?
The media.
Who?
The media.
Who? What they say? They said Tiger Woods was arrested. They showed his mugshot, and it said, actually, you know what it said? It said DUI Tiger. So like the eye of the tiger, right on the headlines for the Post. But I would say that they did similar things with Lance Armstrong and a host of other people when they came out. Folks are trying to grab headlines. I wouldn't necessarily make this a black issue. And especially because I don't know that Tiger makes himself a black issue.
Well, yeah, he does. I don't know if he has to make himself a black issue. he's reminded of that when and if he does fall out of line.
But when has he been? Wait. You talk to me about where Tiger has been reminded of being a black person.
No, when the episode where he and his wife were going at it.
Dude, the dude cheated on his wife. And he got drunk. He ran into a tree.
What are you talking about? That time when his wife came after him with a golf club and beat him in the car up, and then he ran into the tree. You talking about that point?
Right.
Yeah.
So that was because he was black?
No, I'm not. No, you're not hearing me. You're not hearing me.
You said that he's reminded of being.
He's reminded at time when he's not falling in line.
When? But I'm saying when does that occur?
No, when it has occurred.
When has it occurred? And then that he has been reminded that he was black.
Most recently, and during that time, the media came down on him like a tiger.
Because he was black, or because of the incident. I mean, look at Wiener. Look at what's going on with Wiener. If Wiener were black, then would the thing be, well, they're getting on him because he's black, or are they getting on him because he's a pervert? They're getting on. I mean, was it just sensational news? So you had a guy who was ranked #1 for 5 years in golf, right? I mean, he was the darling of everybody. And then in that moment, people saw a fall from grace. Is it because he was black?
The attack on how the attack was, it's almost like, I think with I don't know, I could be wrong. 973-457-8000. I think that when you're up on those pedestals and you're black or other African American descent or African descent or brown, I think there's a weight for you to fall from grace, or hope from I mean, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, please call and straighten me out. I mean, I have no problem with that. But
I think there's a weight for. I think the media lifts people up in general, and then the media makes money lifting people up. And then the media makes money tearing people down. And, you
might have a point there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. To me, I don't think it matters who it is. I think they just do it.
What was that guy's name? He ended up being drafted to the Chicago Browns. He was supposed to be Johnny Football. Manziel. He's gotten so many... He barely was in the league a couple of years. He's...
What did he do?
So many DWIs, so many drug fueled situations. I mean, they've hit the media, but then they hit and they go. I'm not saying they don't hit, but they hit and then they go. For example, for example, Bill Cosby. They rode him all the way.
Because he's a pervert.
Time out. They rode him all the way to the promised land.
He's a pervert.
When's the last time we heard about what's the name from Fox?
Who?
When's the last time we heard?
Are you talking about Bill O'Reilly?
Who just got fired? When's the last time?
Right?
We heard about anything?
Are you kidding me?
Wait.
Stop it.
How long has it been since anybody had a conversation? Since you've heard or seen anything on the media? I'm talking about Bill O'Reilly.
So you're going.
I'm talking about the length of time that the crucifixion goes on. Is a big difference. You don't think there's a difference?
I think that certainly the length of time was a big.
It's a huge difference.
Right, but let's understand who Mr. Jello Man was, who Mr. Dad was, right? The guy who set himself up as a role model for black folks. Wait a minute, but let's have the discussion about why I believe it occurred. So you have a guy who puts himself, he's at the very top of morality, right? Look at me. I define what black men ought to be to families and how they ought to behave. Right. I mean, literally, all the way down to the way that he did his stand-up, where he would
on the verge of buying NBC. The timing is right. Go ahead.
Stop. The way he criticized comedians like Eddie Murphy and other comedians because he talked about the profanity. So he set himself as a standard bearer.
Okay.
Right? And then we find out dude was drugging women with Quaaludes.
And again,
by his own admission. Wait.
What?
He said that he gave them drugs. He said he gave them drugs.
Wait, where's this at?
That Bill Cosby didn't. Oh, you know what? You're gonna make me go to Google.
I'm gonna make you go to Google.
You're gonna make me go to Google.
I'm gonna make him go to work this Thursday morning. He thought he was off because tomorrow was Friday. No, we're gonna make him work. It's Thursday. But I could be wrong because Manziel again several times, and thank you, Paul, for listening.
Right. So here it is
feed.
on CNN.com. Bill Cosby admitted to giving Quaaludes, getting Quaaludes to give to women. He said he did.
Okay, but now the question is, was it unbeknownst to the woman?
When you got Quaaludes, this was the question. When you got Quaaludes, was it in your mind that you were going to use these Quaaludes for young women that you wanted to have sex with? His answer was yes. Okay. Did you ever give any of those young women the Quaaludes without their knowledge? Now, Cosby's attorney then objected and told him not to answer that question.
Okay.
Now, can I continue?
You can continue.
All right. So now, with Bill Cosby putting himself up as the American role model, I appreciated the fact that they came down on him like a hammer.
I loved his show.
And said, you know what? I love this show too. But let's separate let's call him an actor, right? Because he acted in that role. Because he certainly didn't live that life.
Yeah, like a lot of preachers.
No. But and they should come down on the preachers too. They came down on Jimmy Swaggart. Of course they did. And if social media was alive when Jimmy Swaggart did what he did, oh my God! Did you see that they had the headlines on the newspapers and the magazines with the tears streaming down from Jimmy Swaggart's face? I have sinned.
Right? No, that's all they have to do is say I'm sorry.
Wow.
And then not too long after the fact.
Well, but he just sinned.
But
he didn't commit a crime. He sinned. Right, so he was unfaithful to his wife. Bill Cosby, on the other hand, is accused of rape, and not of one woman, not of two,
I'm not saying
not of 10, not of 15. Oh, we're in the 20s.
Is this still in court, or is this out of
It
court?
is. I said accused.
No, is it still in court? Are they still dealing with this in court?
Yes, they are.
I'm not sure if it's still in court. In fact,
but now,
well, it's not in criminal court anymore. I can tell you that. That part is no longer in criminal court.
But I don't understand how you look at Bill O'Reilly.
We haven't.
How you compare Bill O'Reilly?
How do we compare
to Bill Cosby?
What do you mean? The incidents, the accusations are similar.
No,
and again,
wait. So Bill O'Reilly. Let's be clear. Bill O'Reilly has been accused. Wait,
it's been at least
Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly has been accused of inappropriate behavior on the job. Right.
Like Donald Trump.
Like Donald Trump.
Right.
Was Bill O'Reilly accused of raping anybody? Was Bill O'Reilly accused of drugging anybody? What was Bill O'Reilly accused of? That he used his power and authority over women at Fox News in order to try to gain sexual favors. Right. That's what he was accused of. Right. Now, as horrible as that is, and it's horrible.
It's horrible.
It is horrible. It's horrendous.
When did we last speak about that?
But the question I'm asking you is, if you put that on a scale, are you saying that it's balanced with Bill Cosby being accused of raping over 25 women?
Well, I'm just going to say this, and maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist,
and drugging them.
Maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist. It just the timing is just questionable on when all this happened. I mean, decades later, the accusations come up. Decades later. Around the time when he was in the process of trying to purchase NBC. The timing was just, I don't know.
Did you ever call? Well, okay, so
I don't know.
But let me,
decades later,
but I'm going to ask you a question. Here's the question I want to ask you. So your daughter is one of the women who he gave quaaludes to and he raped, right? And she lacked the courage to talk about it, but then she saw other women coming forward telling the story that she has buried in the back of her mind for decades, right? And then she gets ready to come out to tell, and she goes, "Dad, I want to tell this story. This happened to me." You're gonna say, "Babe, don't do that because he's gonna buy him NBC. We don't want to destroy him."
No, stop. Everybody all of a sudden waited. I mean, my whole thing.
No, but I asked you, what would you have your daughter do?
There was only one Monica Lewinsky, and while Bill was still president, sitting in the power seat, there were people coming after him. When Bill Cosby was the man on TV, nobody decided to come out, and everybody decided to wait. Usually, if somebody's thinking monetary gain, this, that, and the other, you're going to get the guy when you know he's on top making that mega buck. There was nobody bigger than Bill Cosby when the Cosby Show was out. Nobody.
Let me ask you a question.
Nobody decided to open their mouth at one.
So I want to ask you a question.
Not one person.
So I'm going to ask you the question.
And they decided to wait until the man was 80 years old in the process of purchasing.
So I'm going to ask you this question.
It just seems
so with
odd
Donald
to
Trump.
me.
So does this seem odd to you? So Donald Trump said that he thought that it was cool to grab women's vaginas, right? Snatch them by the vagina, in fact, right? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until after that audio and video aired that women started coming out saying that Donald Trump assaulted. Now, so Donald Trump.
That's not true.
Okay.
There has been a few lawsuits.
All in the news like it was?
Not all in the news because he has the money to keep it out of the news, but there have been lawsuits.
And Bill Cosby paid too prior to this becoming a bigger thing.
But there was nobody in court.
What? I don't understand.
There were actual pending lawsuits and lawsuits brought against Donald Trump prior to it becoming a media a circus. But there was no cases against Bill Cosby prior to. All these I just thought that the timing was just, I don't know, questionable. That's all. I mean, why wait? Why are you waiting that long? If anything, immediately after coming off the air and they find the final episode, I'm breaking it out. At least I'm not going to wait decades after that. You know how old Tootie is now? I mean, the baby girl in the Cosby Show is a grown ass woman now. I mean, you kidding me? I don't know. It just seemed a little fishy. That's all I'm saying. I mean, if one person, just one, could have opened their mouth, I would have been like, there was one suit at that time. I'm like, okay, and I can see, and now I see the pattern. Now other people, they gain the courage and they're opening their mouth now, and they're coming forward. And that's what happens. It takes one person to show a level of courage, and just like anything else, you got to know the person can bleed. And then you're willing to go ahead and only attack. You know, that's what happened to Mike Tyson when Buster Douglas knocked him down. All of a sudden he couldn't beat nobody because nobody was afraid of him no more. But there wasn't even one person that went after him even during that, not one, which I found odd. That's the part for me, by comparison to a Donald Trump. There were cases that led up prior to. There was the 13-year-old girl accusation. There was, other things, other lawsuits against him. And in regards to Bill O'Reilly, there was other situations before this became famous too. So there were patterns of things. And then again, there was a culture within Fox itself where people spoke about, that people are coming out about now. So there's a difference. We're talking about a pattern of behavior that expanded over, periodically throughout the decades versus nothing at all. I just found that, a little odd. Again, the timing was questionable. The timing of a lot of things were questionable. People, said the same thing in regards to, hey, it wasn't until so-and-so was looking to buy Sony, and all of a sudden, there were issues, and he's not here anymore.
Okay, so wait a minute.
I'm listening.
When did the Bill Cosby stuff really hit the fan?
Within the past 5 years, I believe.
Okay, so I'm just doing some real quick research.
Okay.
So apparently in 2006, Bill Cosby settled in secret with a woman who had accused him of sexual assault. Right? He settled it in secret in 2006.
See, now you're going to make me do research, because see what happens, I'm old, right? So everything seems like it was yesterday. You know what I mean?
It says the lawsuit filed against Constant seeks to a repayment of a still secret settlement Bill Cosby paid her in 2006 plus interest. He wants his money back because she now decided to come forward and have open interviews, and apparently that the settlement that he agreed to, part of the stipulation was that she couldn't talk. So I'm suggesting that if I did the research, you would find that there were people who were coming forward or talking or having conversations, and Bill Cosby was going around behind them and trying to cover it up and pay, and he was using his influence, in television and movie land to threaten people, much like, and now in this instance, I'll say much like Bill O'Reilly, who was saying to the woman who made the accusation about him coming back to the room and him, kind of ending an opportunity that would have been presented to her because she would not succumb to his advances. Bill Cosby certainly wielded that kind of power, at least allegedly wielded that kind of power, and held it over the heads of these women.
Well, I hope in the end for everybody.
But I just don't think everything's black and white. Meaning black people, white people. I think sometimes people of any color do stuff that's wrong, and they need to be crucified for it.
I'm all for crucifying, the guilty. I just want everybody, all the guilty. I just want whatever it is to be done the same across the board. I don't want, one person over here, Mr. Brown, to receive, 3 years jail term, and then Mr. White over here receives three months probation for the same time.
Well, I don't think I think that we're all in agreement on that there should be.
So I want to be clear what my position is. I'm all for jailing the guilty, etc., so on. I just want equal punishment under the law for everybody. I don't want it to be a harsher punishment for one and an easier one for another, or look to attacking and killing and destroying a character of one person for the similar things. Just as I mentioned, we have just as I was talking about with the Tiger Woods and Manny and Johnny Manziel, for example. It's just, and just the same. We're not even.
So what do you think? So I'm going to ask you this question.
And this other thing, and I see you pulling it up.
Kathy Griffin. Do you think that she is unjustly being crucified?
Yes, because of the individual who she's crucifying. It's not in this particular case. We're not talking about. We're talking about the color of the victim. So let's the people, just in case there's somebody living in a bubble. Let's tell them what it is. And we're talking about Kathy Griffin had
the D-list comedian.
The D-list comedian. She there's a photo of her holding up like a mannequin head, a decapitated head of Donald Trump. And
no, it's soaked in blood.
Soaked in blood.
And she's holding it up by the hair, and she's got a very stark look on her face, and she's positioning it in a manner that illustrates how ISIS has decapitated people.
Right.
Right.
And then people are appalled by it because this is rare.
She was appalled in the end.
The one thing that bothered me with Kathy Griffin.
Should I play her apology so you can hear how she...
The one thing that bothered me with Kathy Griffin is that she apologized.
Really?
Because of the fact that, one, she's a comedian. Two, she's a raunchy comedian. That's been her entire career. She's been, if you want to see an off-the-cuff, raunchy type comedian, you're going to see the Andrew Dice Clays, you're going to see the Richard Pryors, you're going to see the Eddie Murphys, you're going to see them. If you want nice and wholesome, then you go see the Bill Cosbys, you go see Jerry Springer. I mean, not Jerry Springer. What's his name that had the show? Jerry Seinfeld. You go see those kind of comedians. That's not... Kathy Griffin is a raunchy, punch you in the gut, grab you by the crotch kind of comedian. That's who she is. So I don't expect differently from her. I expect exactly what she gave. And it was almost like to the point that I was, when everybody wanted Eddie Murphy to apologize for his set, when he was talking about Michael Jackson and all that. I don't want an apology for that. You're a comedian. You were saying jokes that was funny. For me, that's the end of the conversation. Now, my issue with that whole thing, and as I posted on my page, and I'll post a link here in the feed, is that people were bent out of shape with what she did. Obama had several people.
Can I play her apology?
The apology is not necessary. We understand what it is. I mean, she's doing that for so much pressure. We understand why she's apologizing. Is she really sincere about it? I don't believe it. I think she's doing it for so much political pressure. I appreciate the fact that she actually did it. I appreciated that she did it.
No, you said that you were appalled that she did it.
No, I was appalled that she apologized. I was appalled that she did it.
That she... When you said that she did it, I thought you meant that she apologized.
I'm okay that she did what she did. I'm appalled that she apologized.
Wow.
So
you don't think that there's a line that even a comedian can cross?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they have... I don't think there's a line...
And so let me ask you a question. So you would have been okay with a right-leaning comedian showing up on stage with a mannequin body of Obama dangling neck in a noose. Right. You'd have been all right with that. You'd have said, "That's cool."
If you're gonna put it in terms, let's put it in the same terms. Would I have been okay with, let's pick a raunchy black comedian. Let's say Cat Williams. If Cat Williams did that, would I have been okay? Depending on the skit, I would have probably been okay.
No. I'm not talking about Cat Williams.
Because you can't compare, because we're talking about a white woman who did this versus a white man.
A white woman.
So if you're gonna do
a white woman who hates Donald Trump. I don't know that Cat Williams hated Obama.
Give me a raunchy black female comedian by comparison who was raunchy, who would have done this to Obama. Then I would have been like, okay, you can't compare saying a white comedian doing it with Obama's image. It's not a comparison.
And you don't think that there would have been absolute outrage if a black Republican comedian had done that to Obama? You don't think that the word coon and Uncle Tom and he would have
gotten the same backlash as she's getting? Absolutely. Would I have wanted him to apologize? No. Depending on the type of comic comedian he is. If we're talking about if Dave Chappelle did something, depending on his skit, if he would have did something off the cuff and would have did that and people wanted him to apologize, I would have been bothered by the apology. I said, first of all, the man's a comedian. There's been comedians for decades, for centuries, that have brought ugly situations to the forefront in the form of comedy, in the form of jokes. And some of them have been raunchy. From the Roseanne Barrs to the Paul Mooneys and others. That's what they do. Don't sit here and stifle their darn creativity. My thing is, that was her position. She's a raunchy type comedian. She's not doing nice, wholesome comedy. She's not bringing. You're not bringing your child to her darn comedy show. You're not going to do it. Just like you wouldn't do it for what's her name, for Joan Rivers and others. You wouldn't bring your children to certain comedian shows because you know their style of comedy. That's just the bottom line. She is a raunchy comedian. I